Okay, folks, welcome to the things that kids really want to do the most, shooting a basketball. In my hands, I've already shown you, is a 9-pound basketball, which by my public school math, done in this high school 40 years ago, is 144 ounces. Does anybody know how much this thing weighs in ounces? Somewhat less than a pound. All right. So there's a factor of 14, 15, 16 here with the ball. Actually, it's probably more like 10 or 11. Either way, the point I'm trying to make is when you're teaching shooting to kids, recognize one very simple fact. They're probably not going to be able to shoot with correct form until maybe well into middle school, if that. They'll shoot the ball and they'll have all sorts of amazing form, some that's never been taught by anybody. But as far as learning to shoot the proper way, this is where patience is a huge virtue. By nature of their lack of strength, by nature of their lack of coordination, by nature of the fact that they're taking a ball that's pretty heavy comparative to their strength, and now they've got to push it up somewhere against gravity to a basket, is a very difficult challenge for kids. However, the good news is if they make 1 out of 25, they love it because they made 1. We make 1 out of 25, we're upset because we missed 24. They make 1 out of 25, and what do they brag about to mom and dad? The one they made. So that's the good news. No matter what kind of form they have, no matter how bad they really are shooting, make 1, and it's a good day for them. Make 2, and my gosh, they'll be exultant. With that said, shooting form, what is it? 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. Very simple. I am a big proponent of two-hand shooting at these ages. If you know anything about the history of basketball, very simply until 1952, 1955, we were a two-hand shooting nation. We never shot one-handed until then. There was a fellow named Hank Luisetti from Stanford who came east to Madison Square Garden, and he shot, I think it was a lefty, and he started shooting one hand, and that was just unbelievable to the Eastern, especially the New York basketball folks who had always seen two-hand shooting. One-hand shooting meant greater accuracy from the outside shot, one hand being better than 2. However, what it took away from the two-hand shooting was the strength to shoot a shot with 2 arms and 2 shoulders. Now, when we're talking about young kids who lack strength anyways, I always like putting the ball in their 2 hands because now, instead of just taking that one hand and heaving from the side, which is what I'd have to do shooting this ball, now they've got their thumbs and their fingers behind, and they can shoot it almost like a chest pass to the basket. So, unless you have very strong 5th graders, very strong 6th graders, even at 10-foot hoops, which is the one about me, you're going to find that the kids compromise their form shooting one hand because there's just no way they could shoot a shot like I would with decent rotation, decent form. What they've got to do by the time they get the ball here is they got to bring it down to their shoulder. The weaker ones to their ribs. The weaker ones than that to the hips. And then some even do it from the ankles. And it's like this. It's a heave. Now, that's inventive and it's creative. But the problem with shooting like that is eventually as they get bigger and stronger, they've got to take that now compromised form and put the ball back in front of them. And I have seen so many kids the last 30 years who grew up shooting 3-point shots, who grew up shooting shots too long, try to adapt in high school, and their form was just awful. It was always off the shoulder. It was always off the side, and it was never accurate. It was accurate to some point, but especially coming from the other side, left in this case, bringing it over and shooting. So what you want to do, try like heck. It's not always going to work. Keep the ball in front of the player when he or she shoots. Keep the ball in front of the player. If you shoot 2 hands, chances are they're going to release it. It might be at the nose. If they're a little stronger, it might be higher. However they can do it, keep the ball in front of them. And then as they get stronger and they adapt, they may be able to go to 1.